Listen, I've met Tom Hanks a couple of times, and he was very kind and very lovely, and his wife was exceptionally lovely. But when he was on Saturday Night Live...
I hated it too, and I said it on my show. I know.
What?
I hated it. Wearing the MAGA hat, not shaking hands with a black person. Right. And that's when I thought, you people don't know MAGA people.
Nope.
I mean, they have their issues, and I certainly have my issues with them, but they're general. I mean, of course, there's some racists everywhere who are that bad, but generally, all the MAGA people I know have no problem shaking hands with the black person. You're just hysterical, and you're not helping. And
nope,
I agree.
Not at all.
That was
deplorable squared.
Not helping.
Bill Maher is lighting up woke Hollywood, and it's turning into an all-out firestorm. The sharp-tongued comedian and talk show icon is done swallowing the smug, self-righteous lectures coming out of Tinseltown and is coming out swinging. His savage swipe at Hollywood darling Tom Hanks sends a clear message. Nobody's off limits in Maher's full-blown war against the woke agenda. And guess what? I've got every jaw-dropping clip queued up for you. First, here's a moment that sparked Maher's fury. Then get ready for his blistering verbal smackdown.
If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go.
No,
oh, no.
Like that.
Oh, no. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome in Black Jeopardy anytime.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother. Maybe I'll start a show for you to come on, and we'll call it What Jeopardy?
So, this was a narrative woke Hollywood tried to sneak into everyone's psyche, that MAGA supporters and Trump voters were nothing more than crude, racist stereotypes. It was slick, smug, and cloaked in the sparkle of so-called comedy. When the clip hit the public, the usual defenders leapt in with, "Calm down. It's just a joke," claiming that anyone who didn't laugh must be humorless. But here's the part they always skip. Comedy isn't harmless. Like film, music, or media, it wields cultural power. It can shape minds, reinforce prejudice, and manipulate public thought, especially when it comes from a megaphone like the mainstream. They want to ridicule half the country under the mask of satire, then run for cover behind the "it's just comedy" excuse when called out. But we're not falling for it. Because when the joke always targets the same people, conservatives, Trump backers, that's not humor. That's propaganda and a punchline. This very issue flared up again on a recent episode of the Club Random podcast with Bill Maher. And here's what he had to say about the clip.
You people don't know MAGA people.
Nope.
I mean, they have their issues, and I certainly have my issues with them, but they're general. I mean, of course, there's some racists everywhere who are that bad, but generally, all the MAGA people I know have no problem shaking hands with the black person. You're just hysterical, and you're not helping. And
nope,
I agree.
Not at all.
That was
deplorable squared.
Not helping.
But that's the playbook of the far left. Twist the truth, demonize their opponents, and discard them without a hint of regret or responsibility. They hammered Trump for years. Now J.D. Vance is in their crosshairs. And Tom Mann hasn't been spared either. It's never about fairness or facts. It's about pushing a narrative, no matter who gets slandered or what wreckage is left behind, as long as it serves their political endgame. And unfortunately, Tom Hanks is marching in lockstep with them. Some might say, hey, he's just an actor reading lines. It's not personal. But come on, Hanks isn't some no-name hustling for a paycheck. He's a Hollywood heavyweight with decades of blockbusters and more roles offered than he can count. If something didn't sit right with him, he could have passed without blinking. But he didn't. And that choice speaks louder than any line he delivered.
But I'm telling you, as a liberal, I don't like it. Again, because lying offends me. I'm a comedian. When the premise isn't real, the joke is not going to work. The premise has to ring true. That premise doesn't ring true. It might have rang true, I don't know, X years ago. It doesn't now. So, but that's where we are. Everybody has to just play the hate card because that's what gets clicks. That's what gets you loved by your side.
Right, your side, 100%. And there's safety there.
They just want to feel that, oh yeah, that's right. That he's
Yeah, that's right. The left has turned demonizing Trump into a craft, and they've mastered it. It's practically their daily grind. I vividly remember Trump's court trial when MSNBC went into full meltdown mode, devoting a non-stop 24-hour news cycle like it was some kind of political Super Bowl. That wasn't journalism. It was performance art. Cameras stalked his every step from the hotel lobby to the courtroom door. It was excessive, obsessive, and frankly embarrassing. Their Trump derangement syndrome runs so deep they honestly thought this media circus would hand them a guaranteed election win. They truly believed that plastering the screen with non-stop Trump footage laced with smug punditry and cherry-picked spin would hypnotize voters into turning blue. But here's the reality. The American people aren't that gullible. All that hysterical coverage didn't destroy Trump. It exposed the left's desperation and just how little they care about the real problems everyday Americans actually face.
It reminded me of an abuser who goes back to a woman and puts on the mask. I'm charming. I'm totally loving. I will never hurt you. You can trust me. I get you. We're together. We're a partnership. But then as soon as the woman does something, it could be anything to set him off, the veil comes down and you realize this has been someone pretending. This whole thing that's been wooing me in has been an act. And oh my God, I was almost fooled. Thank God I saw the moment of reality. That's what that thing was to me, because Saturday Night Live hates conservatives.
So what Megyn Kelly is really pointing out here is that Tom Hanks might not hold conservatives or the MAGA movement in high regard at all, which means all these years has been playing a part off-screen. 2. Grinning politely, embodying America's lovable everyman. But now, the mask has slipped and we're getting a glimpse of the real Tom Hanks. No filter, no pretense. And the contempt, it's not even hidden anymore. As for the network, let's not play dumb. They've already shown their colors. They are not aiming for balance. They are locked into the woke agenda, turning out narratives that divide, shame, and mock anyone who dares step outside the progressive script. So, sure, we can't act shocked at their bias. They've been broadcasting it loud and clear. But Hanks, here's a real gut punch because we actually expected more from him.
The veil was down and we saw what they really think of all of us, not just MAGA, but anybody on the right. They think you're a racist. They think you're all the ists for all sorts of psychological reasons that we've gone into and don't need to here. But there was that piece of it. And then there was how deeply offensive it was for Tom Hanks in particular to participate in this skit. Tom Hanks, who started off on this stupid show called Bosom Buddies, which maybe it was ahead of its time because it was about two men who dressed as women in order to get the living arrangements they wanted. So it was guys dressed, sort of in drag. And he was hilarious and he was a nobody. And it was a stupid show that made us fall in love with him because he was so funny and bumbling.
Yep, that's exactly how the woke mob operates. It strips away your logic, floods you with outrage, and dumps you into a make-believe world detached from reality. One moment you're thinking clearly, the next you're regurgitating scripted talking points and vilifying strangers just because it's trendy. That's the grip of groupthink. It doesn't just mold your views, it rewires your sense of self. And the worst part, they'll clap as you sabotage your own future. Just scan the damage. Whoopi Goldberg constantly teetering on the edge of being cancelled. Sunny Holston turning off half the country with her out-o-foul trance. Drew Barrymore, once beloved, now a PR nightmare. The woke mob adores you when you echo their script, but dare to step out of line or become inconvenient. They'll drop you in a heartbeat. It's a trap, and far too many are still walking right into it.
In thanks to a nation, of audiences that included those guys who look like that with the t-shirt, without the sleeves, that are maybe a little rough around the edges, who aren't as coiffed as he is with the perfect 3/4 zip, sweater, with their MAGA hat on. And yeah, Tom Hanks, their Southern rural accent, you absolute effing snob, went to your movies and made you a billionaire. And your thanks to them is to mock and belittle them in the 2 minutes you had to portray what they might be like. Shame on you.
Exactly. Tom Hanks let down every single fan who cherishes films and admire the image he spent a lifetime cultivating. He wasn't just a talented actor. He stood as a symbol of integrity, one of the few in Hollywood who seemed to rise above the ugly political brawls. But that illusion shattered the moment he took part in mocking and stereotyping MAGA supporters. That wasn't just a performance. It was a statement, loud and clear, and it hit hard for millions who once held him in high regard. He doesn't get to shrug this off as just another role or hide behind the excuse of just acting. He willingly became part of a narrative that belittles half the nation, and that kind of choice leaves a mark. This isn't about being thin-skinned. It's about fairness. And no, we're not demanding his cancellation. That's not how we operate. We stand for conversation, not character assassination. But let's be clear, we saw it, and we won't just forget it.
Except, this is the big problem with that joke. President Trump assembled the largest coalition of black voters and Hispanic voters, and just kind of racially diverse voters generally, that any Republican has assembled in decades. Certainly in my lifetime. So that's the problem with the joke. It's not reflecting reality. And it's just so tired. The thing I really like about this sketch is it shows that Hollywood has learned nothing. I know that SNL is taped in New York, but the broader entertainment industry has learned absolutely nothing.
Trump supporters come from every corner of society, different backgrounds, faiths, income brackets, and personal stories showing just how much the GOP has expanded in recent years. The outdated caricature of conservatives as a single-minded, backwards crowd just doesn't hold water anymore. It's lazy, it's wrong, and it's a blind spot the DNC refuses to fix. While the Republican Party is adapting to include a wider, more diverse cross-section of America, blue-collar workers, small business owners, Hispanic voters, suburban families. The Democrats are still clinging to worn-out playbooks fueled by identity politics. Instead of evolving with the real-world concerns of everyday Americans, they're doubling down on elitist messaging steeped in woke rhetoric. This isn't the Clinton era. People are done being condescended to. They want real solutions, not moral lectures, not virtue signals. And for all its flaws, the GOP is at least tuning in. Meanwhile, the DNC is still shouting into its own echo chamber.
We just got our clocks cleaned. We lost an historic proportion of black voters, black male voters that we relied on, and Hispanic voters. We thought we could run really hard on the immigration issue, but it turns out almost half of Hispanics like Trump. We even lost a lot of young women under 30. Yikes. All right, let's just double down on exactly what we were doing. Republicans are racists. Actually, first we're going to make fun of Republicans being religious. We're going to make fun of Christians. That'll work. And then we're going to call our opponents racists. Because apparently the majority of Americans, including a lot of black and Hispanic people, are racists. Yeah, that's a